Ah, you lucky comic fans here. We're here with Gary Erskine. This man has so much talent. It's just unbelievable. Gary, tell me about your work.
Well, I've been in the industry for about 25 years. I've worked with Marvel Comics, DC, Dark Horse, Image. I've worked on characters like Judge Dredd and Captain America.
Yeah.
I've done Star Wars, Star Trek, Doctor Who and Terminator, all the big heavy hitters. Been quite fortunate.
What's your favourite character?
If it was a character by another company, probably Judge Dredd. I think more than any other comic character, certainly British comic character, it's certainly one that still resonates with me now, and I've been fortunate enough to work on it too. I think a lot of creators get to a stage where they want to write and create their own work too.
And what's your character called? He must be coming?
Well, there's Roller Girls, which is a collective of about 40 or 50 characters on a sporting team, and there's another project called Incendiary.us. But these are all, people can look them up themselves, but I think because they're personal, they're obviously very important to me, and they'll be coming out later this year.
Fantastic. So where can we get a hold of those?
Well, they'll be published independently, which will be mail order and through my site. Again, it's just keeping it completely independent and having a lot more editorial control over the work as well.
Are you working on any big projects for any of the big publishing houses at the moment?
No, I actually do teaching for film students, and I teach comic work courses. Taking a break to concentrate on the personal work. After 25 years, I think there's a point where any creative individual wants to actually have their own voice and have their own characters out there.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But I also do work for the games industry as well. Basically the cutscenes for trailers and computer games. So it's trying to keep a sort of rich sort of feel, not just comics, which I love, but just diversifying with film and television and games work as well.
Yeah. How do you keep it fresh? What do you bring to it?
By juggling from project to project, from format to format, and obviously with different, going from like say Doctor Who to like Judge Dredd to say a horror book like Grindhouse. I worked on that with Alex DeCampi at Dark Horse. I think that's the best way. Like an actor, you don't just stick to comedy. You do a little bit of drama, you do maybe a Western movie or a horror movie, and it's the same with being a creative talent. You try and work from genre to genre, company to company, and for me, I also have the teaching games, film and television.
What do you think of some of the new illustration styles that are coming through? I've been particularly moving on from manga, the quite aggressive illustration styles that are about now.
I think it's a broad canvas, and I think everything. I mean, I probably inspired by manga back in the 80s with Katsuhiro Otomo's Akira. Akira is a phenomenal piece of work, still 30 years later, looks amazing. I also grew up in a lot of the European artists like Mobius, Bilal, Liberatore, and I think it's all good. As long as they draw well and tell a good story, it doesn't matter what style it's in.
There seems to be a big difference between the story writers, or traditionally there used to be the story writers, then the illustrators, then the inkers. The comic illustrators I interview nowadays, they seem to have a much more rounded approach to it, literally writing the stories themselves, taking it through to the illustrations.
I think if you have the time and the backing to do that, I think it's a purer end product, but there's still no reason to not work with a writer you admire, because they'll bring something fresh to it. And likewise, I don't generally colour my own work. I have a colleague, Yel Zamor, who does that for me, because she's just much better at it than I am. So I think it's like maybe the analogy of being in a band. Everyone wants to go solo, but sometimes having the people behind you to help really helps. I think it's horses for courses.
My favourite, I'm a child of the 80s as well, so my favourite the favourite comic all round was heavy metal.
Oh, I love heavy metal. Well, that's actually where I discovered Enki Bilal. It was the Gods of Chaos series, the Nikopol trilogy, and Mobius and Liberatore and a few others. They were reprints in heavy metal from Europe. And again, it was so different to the superhero comics.
They were so intellectually clever. They were so diverse in their stories. Absolutely loved it.
Well, Rank Xerox, funnily enough, was the inspiration for Ridley Scott's Blade Runner. And when you actually look back at Liberatore and Tamburini, who was the writer, you can see where that influence came from. But I think it's for any, doing a lot of portfolio reviews, for any aspiring artist, it's just look beyond the US comic format. Look at manga, look at the European format. Just as if you were interested in music or film, look beyond what is just in the cinemas or the shops at the moment.
Yeah.
Be inspired by everything.
Yeah. No, absolutely fantastic. It's been a joy talking to you, mate.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Super.
Take care.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Brilliant.